Hey guys, Magnus here, bringing you another episode of TSTO Battle of the Best Events. Now this one, I just couldn't hold it off any longer. I know I only released the other one the other day, but I was too excited and I thought, do you know what, I want to know who wins and who loses. And that is for the Burns Casino and versus the Wild West update. So we're just going to plow through these. I want to get this series over and done with, so there might be a few of these out. It's probably going to be like 3 or 4 a week. I apologise if it's too many to keep track of. Just save the videos and watch them when you've got nothing better to watch, I guess. It's my only advice. So today we're going to be doing Burns Casino versus the Wild West. So 5 points to be won, as you all know. First point is for structure and theme. Second point is for characters and costumes. Third point is for buildings and building skins. Fourth point is for decorations. And fifth and final point is for my overall feel of the update as of today. So starting off, we may as well just jump right into this. Let's jump in with Burns Casino. So Burns Casino, in terms of structure and theme, is an update that I like a lot. Now the theme is quite self-explanatory. It's casinos. You know, we're getting loads of different casinos, characters who are based around casinos or can loosely be tied in. And we're also getting a sort of basic 3-act structure for the structure. So the structure is pretty much just 3 acts, different acts each, different prizes each act. Obviously, there is crafting where you can craft certain items. There was, consumable things where you could go to friends' towns and do certain things and earn more currency to get prizes by visiting friends' towns. There was the mini games. I loved the mini games. They were so cool. So you had the Cletus's Dice Den, the Homer's deck of cards one. You had the what was the other one? There was another mini game, but lots of awesome mini games anyway. And it was just a lot of fun, a lot of interaction, lots of cool stuff, and yeah, great update for sure. Definitely lots of awesome stuff in this one. Then, moving on, we have the Wild West update. So what did the Wild West update give us? Well, the theme is obviously based around the Wild West. Again, pretty self-explanatory. Now, one of the greatest things that this update did was add the desert tile. This was so awesome to get. I really love the fact they did this. And I actually don't understand why they didn't give it us in the casino update, because, like Las Vegas, Casino, Sand, it would have made sense to get it in the casino update as well, but they held off to give it to us in the Wild West update. Obviously, it makes, if you're going to choose which one makes more sense, obviously Wild West makes more sense, but you get what I'm saying. There was, tappables, just like casinos. There was crafting. There was 3-act prize track. These both came out in the same year, so they were very similar in terms of the structure. There was also these little films that you unlocked after you done the things. They weren't anything much. They were just like the little characters just sort of stood around doing things. But that was a nice little touch. So yeah, lots of awesome things in the casino update too. Yeah, great cool stuff. Crafting obviously as well. So, which one do I think gets the prize? Which one do I think gets the point? So, I think both these updates, like I said, are very similar in terms of their structure. The only difference is Burns Casino didn't give us a new tile and Wild West didn't give us any mini games. In terms of theme, I would honestly argue they're about on par. They're both 2 solid themes, a little bit out there, but they pulled both of them off quite well. And that's why I think this point is difficult. But what do I value? The fun interaction of the minigames or the tile? Now, I want to judge this solely on the update when I played it, not on what I think today. Because if I was going to go with what I think today, I would say, well, the tile, because the tile is very useful in terms of designs. But when I played the update, I loved those minigames. I thought they were such a cool aspect. And I think if I had to say which theme is better and which structure I think is better, the point goes to Burns Casino. I will have to give it to that. I can't give it to Wild West, unfortunately. But Wild West certainly has a great structure and theme as well. It's a real tough point, and I could completely, understand if someone else had a different view I'd understand if you disagree with me. So that's it for round 1. Let's go to round 2, which is of course characters and costumes. So starting off with the casino update, we have Ginger Flanders and Amber Simpson. Now, I think both of these characters, although yes, in a bundle, I think they're both as solid and they both stand on their own. So I'm going to give 2 points for both. Lucius Sweet, I think, is very awesome. I liked him. He's a good prize, and they tied him in quite well. Chippy, I thought was an amazing NPC. Obviously, at the time, he gave you the currency for the event, so that was awesome. Hostess Miss Springfield, I'm not going to give a point to her, and I'm not going to give a point to Magic Act Millhouse. I think both those costumes aren't great, personally. Act 2, so we have Craig Demon, or Demon, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I'll give him a point. Casino Nessie, I would have liked to have tasks. I think they could have justified giving her tasks, but I'm fine with it being an NPC. I'll go with it. Casino Boss Bar, I like that costume quite a bit, so I'll give it a point. Not 2 though. And then we have Act 3, so we got Gabbo and Arthur. They definitely get a point. Do you know what? This might be crazy, call me crazy, but there's 2 characters there, so I'm giving 2 points. I consider them 2 characters, so they both get a point. I actually really liked Gabbo and Arthur, and at first I was like, that was a stupid inclusion. Completely forgetting that in the Boss of the Future? One of the future episodes anyway, Gabbo and Arthur are seen like hitting the rock bottom and performing at casinos, so it actually made sense, really made sense as a tie-in. And then we have Reclusive Mr. Burns. I like that costume, so gets a point. So that finishes Casino off with 10 points. Fairly rounded off, fairly fair. So let's go for Wild West. So in the Wild West, the first character we got was Gummy Joe. I'll give 1 point. Buck McCoy, I'll give 1 point to. Cowboy Homer, I do like the costume, and Wes Dubner is also pretty cool too. I think they're all solid characters and costumes. Gummy Joe, I think, is the weakest out of all of them, but still, I don't mind him. Luke Stetson, not gonna lie, I just didn't get anything from this character being added, right? The character, I think, is very generic. It's a very generic love interest anyway in the show. And in the game, they didn't do anything unique with the animations or with the quest line. So they didn't really build off what they had. They just sort of went with what they did in the show. And what I think they did in the show was not great. So in terms of a premium character, I don't think he was that worth it. Especially considering, I guess he wasn't too much. He was only 100 donuts. Maybe for that, it's a fairly cheap character. Do I give a half point? I'll give a half point. I'll be very nice. Very, very nice. I'll give a half point. Tumbleweed gets a full point because I do not care. I love the fact they added that as a character. The Kid with No Name, yeah, gets 1. Outlaw Snake, I'm not a huge fan of, so I'm not going to give that one a point. Soz. Then we have Act 3. You have Brutus and the Prospector. I'm not sure if these were added in the takedown or not. Either way, that's tricky. I think they were added in the takedown. I'm just going to skip over them because I'm fairly certain they were takedown characters. Do you know what? I'll round off, just to be nice, I'll round off Luke Stetson's point just in case. And then we have Prairie Maggie. I love that costume. I think it's great. And the Longshot Skinner is also great. So that gets a point too. So that means even if I round off Luke Stetson's point to 1, and even if I give an extra half point to the 2 NPCs we got, Wild West only would finish with 9.5 or 9. So that means the winner is Birds Casino. I just think, I still agree with it. Even from the surface, I agree with this because I just like the quality of characters that we get in the Casino update a lot more than the characters we get in the Wild West update. So yeah, I think that one's a fair point for sure. So, moving on. Now, Wild West can still win. There is still a chance. But we are moving on to buildings. So, let's have a look. So, Casino, what do we get? We got Burns Casino for a starter. I love that one. Gaming Moe's and the Cletus' Dice Den. Now, I'm going to give 1 point for both because I think that they make sense to be added because obviously they were the thing for the minigames. But in terms of the look of them, I actually don't mind Gaming Moe's, but Cletus' Dice Den, I'm not a huge fan of the look of it. I'll just give 1 point to Gaming Moe's then. Impulse Wedding Chapel definitely gets a point. Safari Casino, I like how they made that into a proper building, and Britannia Casino as well. I like how both of them obviously made into proper buildings. I think they were like little scaled models in the episode. So yeah, the La Bella Frontage, whatever you call it. Yeah, that gets a point. I like that one. Moving on, we have Homer's House of Cards. I actually don't mind it, but I'll give it a point. Lucky Casino gets a point. Woodstock Casino, I'm not a huge fan of. I think it's a bit difficult to like decorate, and it just doesn't look right to me. So I'm not gonna give that one a point. I'm trying to be as critical as I can. Nero's Palace Casino definitely gets a point. The Chinese Acrobatic Theatre definitely gets a point, and the Peacock Lounge, I actually like that one a lot, so that gets a point too, meaning that they finish with 11 points. So, let's move on to the Wild West. So, we got the Town Plaza. Despite it being a corner building and, the sort of start of the act, I actually like this one a lot, so I'll give that one a point. The General Store, I think, is great. The Bank looks great. The Top Chop Barber Shop is alright. The Wilted Rose is nice. Wes Dubner's Rib Huts, I like. The film set doesn't get a point. The Bandit Fort, I'll give the Bandit Fort a half point. I like it, but it was so expensive and didn't really do that much for your town, because obviously it generates the bandits, but I didn't think, at least at the time, that it generated enough for what you had to pay for it. So that's why I'm not going to give it a full point, but I do think it looks alright. We have the Coral, which is, gets a point. The Ordnance Express gets a point. I can't give one for the Hootenanny Barn just because it's a barn, and we have so many barns. I make a point. No barn gets a point. The Part and Parcel Postal gets a point. The Blacksmith I like, and the Sneed, Feed and Seed definitely gets a point too. I really love a lot of these sort of Wild West buildings. I thought they really built out the event, because you want to make a Wild West area, so having a lot of these sort of generic Wild West themed buildings makes a lot of sense. And I think the fact that they added us so many should be given, we should give the update props for that. Now that means that Wild West finishes with 11.5. So by half a point the Wild West wins the buildings point. Like, just about. I think it's fair. I mean, like, in terms of which buildings I value more, I think I would value the collection of casino buildings over I would value the Wild West buildings. But just from our point system, that's how it's turned out. So we're rolling with it. So let's do decorations. So let's start off with Burns' Casino. So we had the Nero's Fountain. I like that one. It gets a point. Burns Fountain gets a point. Walk of Fame Star, I actually really like that. The spotlights, I'm going to give 1 point for all of them. I think that's fair. Same thing with the fountain sequences. I'll give a bonus point for the constant fountain, but the sequences just get 1 point. The Fictus Plan and the Exotic Tree, I'll just give 1 point for both of them. The Gold Digger sign and the Dupas sign and the Cowgirl sign, and I think they all three of them can get a point between them. The Life-size Spruce Moose, I kind of like it. I'll give it a point. The Welcome to Springfield sign, I'm going to give that a separate point because I really like it. The Casino Concierge Kiosk definitely gets a point. The Players Club Tower, there was the whole sort of thing where you could upgrade this, you unlock the different skins, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So I wasn't a huge fan of that, to be honest with you, but I think the building in itself is fine, so I'll give it 1 point. And then in Act 2, we obviously had, oh god damn it, no, there was a decoration skin. Oh, phew. I thought for a second Bart's Casino was a building skin, and I was like, oh no, that would have won Casino, but no, it was a decoration skin. So actually, that's fine. So the Water Show Fountain gets a point. The Newark sign gets a point, and the Bart's Casino treehouse skin gets a point too. Whew, I had a heart attack there before I messed up. Nero's Palace Arch, I like that, and I actually like the walls. And for the walls, I'll give 2 points because I really like the walls. I think walls are we sometimes take for granted, but they are really useful. And I did use Nero's walls quite a bit in my casino design, so I've got to give 2 points for that. So that finishes off the casino update, Burns Casino, with a total of 18 points. So not bad. So moving on, we have the Wild West. So we have the Cactus Rock. I'm going to give 1 point for both. The Stagecoach and the Hitch Horse, again, 1 point for both. The Blood Gulch sign, I think, is fine. I'll give it a point, I guess. The rocks, so there's more rocks. There's even more rocks. I know there's rocks throughout. So every time we see a rock, just know I've covered it with the... I'm going to give it an extra point because I forget they added so many rocks. And actually, again, they're very useful for building out your Wild West area. So I'm going to give 2 points for every single rock. Okay, so I've covered all the rocks. The Frontier Fence, I actually think that was very helpful. So I'm going to give 2 points for it. The Quicksand, I'll give 1. The Frink's Mecho Spider, I actually love that. So I'll give that 1. The Frontier Gate, I'm counting that with the fence and the gates. I think, yeah, I'll just count that. In the cacti, I like the cacti a lot, so that gets a point. Wait, I swear that was returning. No, it didn't return. That was a new cacti, I think. Again, we've got rocks, more rocks. The horse trow gets a point. The wooden barrel, sure. Another fence, I've already covered that. Cow tongues, I'll count that with the barrel. The old mine, I like that, so that gets 2 points. Princess, sure, gets a point. Hitching post, we've already got the hitching post and horse, so I'm not going to give a separate one. And there's another Frontier Gate, I don't know why, whatever, move past that, doesn't get any extra points. Again, more rock, another hitched horse, we've already done that. Frontier Grave gets a point. The Frontier Water Tower gets a point. The Mortician Carriage, I'll give that a separate point. We've already done the horse trow, we've already done the barrels, the explosives. Maybe, yeah, I'll give the points to explosives. We have the more stuff, covered wagon. I've already given a point to a wagon. Lots of wagons, lots of rocks. Frontier fence, another fence. Hot springs, yeah, I'll give that a point. Carlsdad's caverns, I actually really love that one, so that gets a point. The Old West sign, sure, that gets a point too. So lots of decorations, so many decorations, and I didn't want to give too many for all the different sort of fences and rocks and all that stuff that we get in the Wild West update, but the Wild West does finish with 21, meaning that they have beaten Birds Casino in terms of decorations. So it's neck and neck, so I have to break this tie. Damn, I hate this so much. I hate this. No, this is the worst part. So I think that I'm going to base this on which one came the closest. So, in terms of the structure and theme, I think Burns Casino is like 2 points ahead of Wild West. Let's make it like that. They're like 2 points ahead of Wild West. Wild West is good, but Burns Casino is a little bit better. In terms of characters, Birds Casino is just way better in terms of characters, I think. I just think in terms of the selection of characters we have in Burns Casino is just way better. In terms of buildings, I think it's close. Personally, I like the selection that Burns Casino gives us more, so that's my opinions on that. And in terms of decorations, I think Wild West is probably better for decorations. So, on that front, I'm going to give the point, and it's going to come down solely to the characters and buildings. I know this is really harsh, but I just want to focus on that. And that's because, the point goes to the one that I think is the closest in terms of winning the point for buildings, and also the best in terms of characters, and that's Burns Casino. I'm giving it to Burns Casino. I just think it's far better of an event for me anyway, in terms of the characters and buildings. I don't know, the building point went to Wild West, but that was because of the point system. So, yeah, that's what I'm deciding. So, Burns Casino will hopefully eventually go through to the next round. There we go. And Wild West, unfortunately, has been knocked out of this thing. But it was so close. I will not fault anyone who has a different decision, but that is just what I think. So, tune in next week for Destination Springfield versus Itchy and Scratchy Land, the last of the round 3, and then we will have all of our round 4 competitors, and we will start round 4, which shouldn't be too long. There's only going to be 4 episodes of round 4, and then we'll be into the semi-finales. So super excited to finally wrap this one up. It's going to be interesting. How many matches do we have left? We have 1, obviously next week, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we'll do the bronze match, which is 8, and then 9. So we only have 9 more episodes of this. So this is the 10th last. So it's going to be interesting. Obviously, after this, I'm still doing an extra thing. Battle of the Best Events isn't over after we have the winner, because I'm still going to just be quickly versing all the newer updates that we had that didn't get to make it into the roster. And then whatever's the winner of all those events is going to verse the winner of this, just to make sure that we've definitely got the winner. So anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Tell me your thoughts, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.